Welcome again, everybody, to another edition of First Person, sponsored by the Buckeye Insurance Group in Piqua and the Coverman Dickerson Agency, representing the products of Buckeye Insurance here in Troy, Piqua, Covington, and Champaign County over in St. Paris. High school hoops again this week. We're talking tournament hoops with the head basketball coach of the Troy Christian Eagles, Ray Zawadzki Jr.
Thanks for having me.
Certainly well known for the Zawadzki name because of your dad. I always like to plug your dad because he was so great at Vandalia Butler.
Sure, he committed 36 years to one school. You don't see that a lot anymore. 515 wins. He a legend there. So.
And a pretty nice guy.
At times.
A pretty nice guy.
Unless you're playing for him.
Unless you're playing for him. We're talking tournament basketball this week. Of course, it is the week of the girls' state tournament. We saw the boys' district at UD Arena the other night. I know you were there for all 4 days. The regions come up this week. That's going to be interesting. Of course, the boys' season ends up next week with the state tournament at the shop. That's going to be a lot of fun, and coaches everywhere will be there, including yourself. I want to ask you a little bit about what you saw at UD over the weekend that made an impression on you. Divisions 1 through 4, some great basketball, a lot of fun, good turnout. Tell us what you saw that you liked.
Well, there's a lot of things that I liked. There's a lot of talent there, a lot of collective talent from a team standpoint. Let's start with Division 1. There was a lot of good basketball being played there. You know, you had every situation where teams had to execute to be successful, and they were able to do it. Moeller and then the way Withrow came back, it was just good basketball. The Division 2 level, totally different. It was just people playing above the rim. It was very athletic. You're like, wow, how did they do that? And they were able to pull that all together to lead their teams to victory. I mean, you saw a couple freshmen that were able to contribute, and you just saw a lot of good basketball at the Division 2 level. 3 and 4, classic team basketball. Fell in love with, you know, a couple of teams there, Summit Day and Versailles, and then also Jackson Center. So
certainly, my characterization of the 4 days was I didn't see a lot of stars, if you will, Division 1 players like a Daquan Cook or someone like that. On the other hand, I thought that, as you say, the team play was great. And the one thing that stood out to me, you'll appreciate this as well as a lot of your colleagues, I thought what we saw characterized great high school basketball coaching here in Southwest Ohio.
Yes, you had a classic battle in Division 4. I'm highly interested in that because Troy Christian's D4. But the Tri-Village and the Jackson Center game was a classic coaches matchup. I mean, Tri-Village was trying multiple defenses. Jackson Center came back and made some defensive switches to guard Pippinger. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch that game. And right now, Jackson Center just has what I call it. It's hard to define it, but they have it right now. And that's that little extra, that little something that pushes them over the hump, gets them through adversity. That's why they're undefeated. That's why they're #1, and you have to continue to stay with them right now.
You know why you don't want to define it? It's like defining love. If you can define it, it's no good anyway.
That's true.
Ray Zawadzki Jr., the head coach of the Troy Christian Eagles, with us. We're going to come back and talk more tourney basketball as well as basketball in general here in Southwest Ohio right after these words from the Coverman Dickerson Agency in Troy, Piqua, Covington, and St. Paris. Please stay tuned.
The Coverman Dickerson Agency, with offices in Troy, Piqua, and Covington, is pleased to be the sponsoring Buckeye Insurance Group agent for this first-person interview. For farm, auto, and homeowner insurance, Coverman Dickerson is one of the area's fastest-growing Buckeye providers, with a history of service and competitive rates. And we're also an outstanding source of coverage for families with young drivers. For farm, auto, and home policies, call the Coverman Dickerson Agency, proud to represent Buckeye Insurance Group.
Welcome back again, everyone, to this week's edition of First Person with Ray Zawadzki here at Troy Christian High School. Ray, I want to talk a little bit about a team that you mentioned a moment ago that I thought really stood out. Of all the teams in the 4 divisions, the one performance, you mentioned Jackson Center, and I'll talk more about them in a moment, but the kids from Scott McElhenney's kids at Versailles, I thought their performance against Hamilton Baden was a whooping. I mean, I'm sure that they played the way they practiced, and everything fell into place for them that night. They were very, very impressive.
Yeah, well, Versailles is a very talented basketball team. What I like about Versailles is they have multiple weapons that can hurt you. And they can hurt you from the perimeter, or they can pound it inside and hurt you there. One of the things that they really do well is they crash the boards well. All their guys go hard to the rebound. And when they do that, they're getting multiple shots that way. The second thing that makes them successful is they limit the number of shots that the opponents are getting on the other end. They put on a true classic on the night they were down there.
The other thing that's impressive is they got kids in every grade that can hurt you. The winner kid who's a junior, the arms kid's a freshman, I think. He's good. Mitch Campbell inside, senior. He's that post player you talk about. Boy, he's a great competitor.
Yeah, that's what makes them hard to guard, because they got, they're a good team. You stop one wheel, the other wheel's going to turn on you. And right now, they got it going. They got a good matchup coming up in the regional. So. And
as we said, they're so well coached. You mentioned Jackson Center. We talk about coaches. The job that Scott Elkert's done there. Again, a very fine player, and Andy Hoying, his son, point guard out there. No stars on that team, not a lot of size, but their passion for competing.
Yes.
They're down 10 points with 5:50 remaining in the third period to a good Tri-Village team.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't look too good. They call a couple of timeouts, they get a couple things going, a couple of adjustments there, a couple of key baskets, and they're right back into things. When it got to overtime, you kind of knew.
Well, you had a sense that things were going Jackson Center's way, but I've been in that shoe at Tip City where you go 24-0, and it's just it's a feeling when you start winning and that snowball's going down that hill. You just don't think it's ever going to stop. And right now, those kids are playing hard for Scott. He does a great job of getting them to compete. And you said it. They play hard, and it's every play, every possession.
Let me ask you this. As you say, 2 years in a row at Tip City, when you were an assistant with MAP there,
sure.
You have the perfect season going. How do you get kids in the frame of mind to play to win instead of playing not to lose?
Not to lose. It's very difficult.
Well, I guess.
Because but once those juices start flowing and you get into the moment of the game, those kids are well trained. They understand that they're playing to win, and it showed. It was evident in the Tri-Village game. If they were afraid to lose, they would have lost.
$64,000 question that I heard more than once during the district this week. Is Dayton Dunbar the best team in the state? Now, there's no definitive answer to that, I know, but boy, do they have talent, and of course they're well coached, and they are what they are.
Man, they look like a college team when they walked out to warm up. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
Are they as good as the Dunbar teams that Tip City lost to? I don't think so, because they had Norris Cole, NBA. They had they had some talent there, but right now I would say, I don't know, I think Thurgood's going to give them a good game, but I do believe Dunbar is one of the best teams.
I was so impressed with the fact of how they made the adjustments. Aiken had them in a bad place, and yet they come back, and very cerebral.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't panic. They came back in the second half and just put it all together.
I would say one thing that, Pete Pullen does not get enough credit for the coaching that he does at Dunbar. I think this is the second or third year in a row that he did not win District 15 Coach of the Year, which is a shame.
Yeah. Can't let you get away here without talking about your own program here at Troy Christian.
Yeah.
I know you've been here a couple of years. You came here to build a program. You're making strides. Talk to us a little bit about your kids.
Yeah, well, this is the third year that we've been at Troy Christian. The first year was 4 wins. Last year was 14. This year was 17. My kids are starting to respond to the things that we ask out of them. This team this year with 17 wins was the most in school history. We went to a sectional final, which was the first time in school history that we've ever been that far. So kids are starting to buy in. There's an excitement about basketball here.
Right.
We are very young. Only one of our 17 kids in the program was a senior. So I have 16 kids coming back that are very driven to succeed.
And I know that one of the things you're most proud of is the fact that you have upgraded your schedule for the future. You've added some teams up in Auglaize and Mercer County, and that's only going to make you better and stronger.
We're very fortunate to pick up Houston and New Bremen, and we got FM and Arcana. We've added as much as we can. We're doing whatever possible. We got Miami East, Sidney Lane. We got a tough non-league schedule next year.
Ray Zawadzki Jr., the head basketball coach of the Troy Christian Eagles, our guest this week on First Person. I don't want to get away also without sending best wishes to one of our colleagues, a columnist and the athletic director over at Newton High School, Bob Hulsman, recuperating from some surgery earlier in the week. We want to wish him the best and send our best wishes to him and speedy recovery, Bob, and hope to see you back here soon. With that, we'll wrap up this edition of First Person with Ray Zawadzki, and a reminder it's brought to you again by the Buckeye Insurance Group in Piqua and the Coverman Dickerson Agency representing Buckeye in Troy, Piqua, Covington, and St. Paris. Once again, we thank you for your support of PressProsMagazine.com. For Coach Zawadzki and all the sponsors, hope you'll come back with us and see us again next week on another edition of First Person.
If you are looking for quality insurance protection, from a reliable company, sold by professionals, in communities like yours. That's what you'll get from Buckeye Insurance Group.
Buckeye Insurance Group, insuring the heartland.
To find your local Buckeye agent, visit buckeye-ins.com. Buckeye Insurance Group, insuring the heartland.
Insuring the heartland.